Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dinner Table Belonging. Our guest for today is Sukyong, a CODA from America and South Korea. We will be interviewing her about interpreting and CODA related experiences. Let's welcome her. Welcome to India. This is South Indian food, or dosa.
Thank you for the dosa. It's really good.
You have been working at CCBC for 10 years now. Can you share what CCBC is?
CCBC means Community College of Baltimore County. It's a 2 year college in the Maryland state.
Time for a poll. Should all children of deaf adults, CODAs, be interpreters? Out of 300 votes, 72% said yes, and 28% said no. You are a CODA and also an interpreter. You think all CODAs must become interpreters?
No. Everyone should have the freedom to choose what they want to do. At the age of 18, I left the deaf world to become a part of the hearing world. I worked in different areas. It was only later when my deaf best friend asked me to become an interpreter. And I thought it was great because I needed money, so I decided to go back to the deaf community and interpret. That's when I felt that I valued it and I wanted to support it. If at the age of 18 I was forced to become an interpreter, I wouldn't have felt the same way. As I got older and got back to the deaf world, it felt like the right time. Where I'm emotionally mature, explore different things, and I feel more connected.
In India, many deaf parents begin using their hearing child as communication access from around the age 7 or 8, often expecting them to become interpreters later. Is that acceptable?
It is hard. I understand access is very important. But who is responsible for access? Is the kid responsible? Parents are responsible to advocate with the government, the system, the hospitals, and the different places. Society is responsible. It's not the responsibility of CODAs. They are young kids. Forcing them with so much responsibility of interpreting can be traumatizing. And that's not fair.
I understand that. Hearing children of deaf parents carry different and heavier responsibilities. I hope they are not burdened with expectations and are free to choose their own path.
Yes, the system needs to be accountable. You need to fight with the government for access. Adults can fight. Kids need to be protected. They should be safe. They should have fun in their childhood. They deserve that instead of fighting for deaf people who are oppressed. The 8-year-old can't be a freedom fighter.
Yes, I totally agree. Access is the government's responsibility. Time for another poll. Are CODAs considered part of the deaf community? Out of the 800 plus votes, 85% said yes and 15% said no. What do you think? Are CODAs part of the deaf community?
Deaf people make CODAs. Without deaf people, there will be no CODAs.
That makes sense. I have another question. Since the CODA's first language is sign language that they acquire from deaf parents, sign language becomes their mother language.
Yes, for many, not all.
Deaf's first language is also sign language. Deaf people can teach sign language. Can CODAs also teach sign language?
See, sign language is our first language. We grow up using it, we value it completely. But we have to be mindful that we can still hear. We're hearing. And we have the privilege of getting different jobs. If CODAs become sign language teachers, then it would be like stealing jobs from the deaf people. Society anyway has limited jobs for deaf people. It's not CODA's fault. But we as CODAs must recognize that it is the system. And we should not be stealing their jobs and opportunities. No, we can't do that. We've already seen our deaf parents struggle with limited job opportunities. We wouldn't steal their jobs. That would be terrible. So, no.
I agree. So you have more than 15 years of experience as an interpreter. You've worked in many different areas and also a coder who mostly uses ASL. Sometimes deaf people may be critical about your signing skills. How do you respond to that considering your years of experience?
All right. The role of an interpreter is to provide access. It's my native language, keeping that aside. The goal is clear: access. Yes, I grew up with my family and the deaf community using sign language, but I may not know different variations all over America. When I meet deaf people from different areas, I pick up their different signs and add them to my knowledge. Interpreters have different tools, and we keep adding them to our box.
Yes, I have a clear picture of it now. I agree that adapting is important. In India as well, there are variations across different regions, be it the south, north, west, and east. Vocabulary and signing structure is similar, but regional variation is equally important. When the government states that sign language should be standardized, I disagree with that. Access is very important, and the regional variations also hold value. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I absolutely agree 100%. It is their natural evolution of language and regional variation. It represents their cultures and their values. Standardizing means that we are disregarding their identity.
Something just got me thinking. Earlier, you mentioned that CODAs are part of the deaf community. However, the recent CODA land gathering in Jaipur was only limited for CODAs. If deaf people are not present, in what way are CODAs still considered part of the deaf community? How's that different?
Growing up, CODAs have a different experience. CODA spaces are really important for them to value, just to feel safe and share their true feelings. A space to feel happy, a space to feel sad, and just share our experiences. The aim of CODA Land is not to talk against the deaf community. It's a space we get to reflect that I'm not alone. and I finally have people who understand me. Many deaf people also have a similar experience, the ones who are isolated. When they finally meet other deaf, they feel a sense of belonging. Same with CODAs. CODAs don't get into sacred deaf spaces. They respect their journey and its importance.
I get it. Can you elaborate on how both the experiences are different?
Society doesn't oppress CODAs. Society oppresses the deaf. Since CODAs have a hearing privilege, we grow up listening to so many negative remarks about our deaf family, and that really hurts. We often become interpreters to support the family. Deaf people can't interpret. Maybe they can a little bit. CODA experience is not just about interpreting. It's really how the society sees us. That's the difference. Also, my identity and my parents' identity is not the same. Deaf and deaf are same, but deaf and CODA are different. Sometimes they see us as hearing and yet say so many negative things about hearing people being bad, being oppressive, and hearing people have done all sorts of negatives against us. It's very distressing to think that, am I also the same?
Yeah, surely. Comments like, oh, your parents are deaf can feel distressing.
That. And that's not the same. It's very different.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing. This perspective is very important to recognize. I've asked you a lot of questions about the CODA space. Let's move ahead to the next segment. Now, I have a question related to interpreting. So, you have been interpreting for many years. With AI developing so rapidly, do you think AI will replace human interpreters in the future?
No, because people value human connections. Machines aren't skilled to capture expressions and body language. They may capture signs, which are also not perfect, but expressions are very important. You can't put it on the internet as there are many emotions. AI can't catch all of those. It can be limited only to vocabulary, words, and signs, but that's it. Maybe a little bit of grammar, but not an elaborate prosody. That's missing. AI is like a machine. It's not ready. Maybe in the future, but I still feel people will value human connections. Not yet.
Interpreting means staying connected with the community.
Yes, it's like a partnership.
Thank you for your insights. You have been teaching at CCBC for 10 years. Prior to that, you have been an interpreter. How did you decide that you wanted to specifically get into teaching interpreting?
To be honest, I was angry. RID, an interpreters governing body in the USA that provides certification for interpreters, had various board members and including deaf. Deaf had one seat in the board. It was requested to add a CODA to be a board member as well. The board voted against that, and it made me really angry. Hearing interpreters don't realize that CODAs have a lot that they bring to the interpreting field, and they don't respect and have any value for CODAs to not have them on the board. That's why a lot of CODAs do not want to join interpreting program because it fits only for hearing people. It has sign language classes that are designed as per hearing people and not as per CODAs. That's why CODAs keep quitting the interpreting field and don't get certified. They just work in the community at their own level. And that's why CODA interpreters are decreasing. And that makes me mad. Hearing interpreters are the ones that need to be taught. CODAs and dev bring a lot of value to the hearing interpreting field. That's why I decided to become a teacher and include this in my curriculum.
As a coda, was the transition to teaching smooth, or did it come with a share of challenges as well?
To be honest, it forced me to really do a lot of self reflection. Hearing people really oppress the deaf people and our deaf family. And I've also seen how they pick on CODAs. So when I'm their teacher, I have to reflect and reframe so that I am able to train them in the best way. I have reduced my anger, cringe, and challenges. And I really have to unpack a lot of myself to become a good teacher.
That's quite insightful. Lastly, if you could share one important message with aspiring interpreters in India, what would it be?
Interpreters have a lot of power and responsibility. If you want to become an interpreter, that means you have to enable access, respect the community, their rights, their goals, and provide support. Even though you may disagree sometimes, you always have to respect. If you disagree, do reflect on your own self and continue to support the deaf community consistently. As a CODA interpreter and a teacher, I sometimes have to self reflect, keep processing, keep going, and provide equal access.
Thank you for explaining so clearly and sharing such important insights. I hope all interpreters understand and find this valuable. I'm truly happy and grateful for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed the discussion.